Hello everyone. This video will show how to write the trigonometric function in transformed form of a given word problem. So let's go over this first example. Jorel is experimenting with a spring and a weight attached to it. He observed that the motion of the weight, ignoring damping, can be modeled using a cosine function. He starts a stopwatch and records the first high and low points of the weight. The first high point is 52 centimeters above the floor, was reached when the stopwatch reads 0.6 seconds. The next low point of 28 centimeters above the floor occurred when the stopwatch reads 2.4 seconds. Write an equation expressing the height above the floor h of t in centimeters in terms of time t in seconds. So what are we expecting is an equation that looks like this. So let's go ahead and write the given variables here. So the first given is the highest point located at 52 centimeters above the ground at time of 0.6 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down here. We also have the low point, which is located at 28 centimeters at 2.4 seconds. Now let's determine the midline D. The formula for the midline D is high point plus low point divided by 2, because that's pretty much like the middle between the highest point and the lowest point. So if we plug in the value here, our highest point is 52. We're going to add it by its lowest point of 28 and then divide it by 2. That will be our midline D. So our D value is 40. Now let's determine the amplitude A. The amplitude is the distance from the midline to either the highest point or the lowest point. So that we can go ahead and say that the formula for the amplitude is highest point minus D. So we go ahead and plug in the values. Our highest point is at 52. We subtract the D value of 40 so that our amplitude is 12. Now please remember that from the highest point to the lowest point is half a cycle. And we also remember that period is a full cycle. So if the highest point to the lowest point is half a cycle, so we go ahead to solve for the period, we multiply it by 2. So the formula for period then would be, so period is equal to twice of the time from the lowest point minus the time at the highest point. So we go ahead and plug in the values here. So 2 times our time at the lowest point is 2.4 minus the time at the highest point is 0.6. And we go ahead and do the math here. So we can go ahead and say that our period is 3.6. Now we're going to solve for B. Now we remember that the other formula for period is 2 pi over B. So that we can go ahead and say that our B equation from here is actually, we just switch their position right here. So B is actually 2 pi over P. So this is the equation that we're going to use to solve for B. So I go ahead and plug in the values here. So I plugged in the P value of 3.6 here. So our B is 2 pi over 3.6. Now we are also interested in finding for the C. The C, or the phase shift, is equal to the time at the highest point. So that from here we can go ahead and write down the equation down here. So we start with HT, which represents the height, is equal to the amplitude, which is 12, and that is cosine. Our B is 2 pi over 3.6. Then we have a T minus the C is 0.6. And then we have a D of 40. So that's a plus 40 down here. So this is the equation that would work for this given problem up there. So that is how we write the equation of the transformed form of trigonometric function given the word problem.